Is she the one that was in charge of the kids while my
I
grandson?
was, but I can't talk to you
Why?
because you're not on the form. So we'll have to get Dara up here and she will let you.
Okay, that makes sense. Not on the forums.
I
Don't want to
mean,
be
first
talking
of
about
all,
somebody
I'm
else's
coming
kids
down
or
here
some
because
person.
we don't do that. The transgender and all that. We don't do that.
I understand. I already,
And I don't appreciate you encouraging him to put on no dress
Exactly,
for the second day too. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And don't think this is going away. I'm going further with this.
okay, you can go down and talk.
No,
to
I'm not
Dara.
done talking to you. I'm letting you know the next time that you put any kid in a dress, we're gonna make you go viral.
Right.
Okay. You need to go talk to my director because I, as a teacher.
No, I'm letting you know I got an issue with you about that. I'm not playing with you.
I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you feel that way. But you should have called me before you made the decision to put my grandson in a dress.
Right. Okay, you can speak to the.
No, I'm speaking to you.
Please do not talk to me in that tone with my children.
I wouldn't be up here if you.
See, that's the problem right there. These are not your children. These are your students. There's a big difference between somebody being your child and being your student. And you should be consulting with parents before you implement your ideologies on their children. Everybody doesn't believe the same thing. And if you want people to respect your views on certain things, you need to respect other people's views on certain things. And that means you need to be talking and communicating with people's parents if you plan on putting their sons in dresses. Like, that's wild to me.
If you wouldn't put my grandson in no dress.
Again,
well, do what you got to do. No, I'm taking it up with you.
Please lower your voice. You're in a classroom.
I'm taking it up with you. Well, you shouldn't have put my grandson in no dress.
He's 2.
This ain't over with, all right?
You know what's crazy? It's because when I was in school not that long ago, it was the far right trying to push religion into the school system that was a part of the problem. Now we've done a complete 180. How about let's just stick to the math and the science? Because as a taxpayer, when I send my kids to school, I shouldn't have to decide between QAnon conspiracy theories and gender identity propaganda. And I'm sure most teachers are doing the best they can, working with what few resources they have, trying to educate their students in what appears to be a crumbling nation. But just hear me out. When you allow teachers to dress little boys up like little girls, and then you allow those same teachers to have sexual conversations with children, you just might attract a certain kind of person. And it isn't a person that aspires to be an astronaut. Y'all know how we use euphemisms to make people feel better about their jobs. Like instead of calling people porn stars, we now call them adult film actresses. Well, a criminal justice and sociology major at ODU said instead of calling them pedophiles, we should call them minor attracted people to clear up some of the stigma behind pedophilia.
So much for that question. I use the term minor attracted person or MAP in the title and throughout the book for multiple reasons. First of all, because I think it's important to use terminology for groups that members of that group want others to use for them. And MAP advocacy groups like Before You Act have advocated for use of the term MAP. They've advocated for it primarily because it's less stigmatizing than other terms like pedophile. A lot of people, when they hear the term pedophile, they automatically assume that it means sex offender, and that isn't true, and it leads to a lot of misconceptions about attractions toward minors. But using a term that communicates who someone is attracted to doesn't indicate anything about the morality of that attraction.
Odd. Just recently at the State University of New York, an ethics professor by the name of Stephen Kirshner said that there shouldn't be an age of consent. Now, keep in mind, this next clip is 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so if you have the attention span of a chicken sandwich, it might be a little tough for you, but bear with me because I think it's important for you guys to hear the whole thing.
Imagine that an adult male wants to have sex with a 12-year-old girl. Imagine that she's a willing participant. A very standard, very widely held view that there's something deeply wrong about this, and it's wrong independent of it being criminalized. It's not obvious to me that is in fact wrong. I think this is a mistake, and I think that exploring why it's a mistake will tell us not only things about adult-child sex and statutory rape, but also about fundamental principles of morality. Well, there's a couple things to say here. One is, even if you are looking for a threshold, let's say there's a threshold, I'm making this number up, but let's say it's at age 8. Still, that tells you that some adult child sex is permissible. Second, the notion that it's wrong even with a 1-year-old is not quite obvious to me. There are reports in some cultures of grandmothers filleting the baby boys to calm them down when a colicky. Now, I don't know if this is true, but this is sort of widely reported as occurring in at least one culture, and it working, that the grandmothers believe this actually works. If this were to be true, and again, I don't know it to be true, if it were to be true, it's hard to see what would be wrong with it. So yeah, I guess I think, no, I don't think there's a blanket period beyond which this is permissible. If we're interested in willing participation, which is the way I structured it, then yeah, there's a point below which people aren't willing participants in anything because they don't have intentions or they don't have the sort of mental states that allow for willing participation. But no, I don't think it's blanket wrong at any age. They might think that children can't be willing things in general. It's an odd view in that they seem to will things all the time. They will participation in kickball. They will showing up, participating in the bar mitzvah lessons, bat mitzvah lessons. So there's all sorts of things that they will. You might think, well, maybe there's something distinct about sex that they can't really understand it. It's not clear to me that what they're not getting at is consent. I suspect what they want to say is, okay, they're willing participants, they're voluntary participants. They have some understanding what's going on, not understanding we do, but some understanding, but they haven't consented. Perhaps that's so, but that's a different claim from their being unwilling. There's just lots of activities that children engage in that they don't understand all that well. For example, when you first show up to participate in a judo tournament or you prepare for your bat mitzvah, I mean, you have a rough idea, but it's not clear how much you fully understand it.
Now, again, I'm not saying that we should be hanging out in front of the school holding up the 10 commandments, but what I am saying is when regular people send their kids to school, they want to make sure that their kids are being educated instead of indoctrinated. You just can't start calling regular Americans conspiracy theorists or right-wing nuts because they want to know what their kids are learning in school. And again, just so that I'm clear, I'm not saying that this is a majority. I understand that this is a small minority, but when you sedate boys by giving them opioids because they can't sit still for 8 hours, I don't know what 5-year-old's able to do that anyway, but when you sedate boys because they can't sit still for 8 hours straight, you put them in dresses and then you allow adults to have sexual conversations with them, you're going to attract a certain kind of person. And you can't start calling concerned parents transphobic because they're concerned about the situations that their children are in. Calling parents transphobic or homophobic because they're concerned about what their kids are learning in school isn't going to help your cause. Look, at the end of the day, we're all people, and most sane people, heck, even insane people want what's best for children for the most part. So imagine how sick you have to be to want to harm children. But we can't forget that there is a small minority of people who want to do just that. And I don't think it'd be wise for us to start opening up doors for them to do it. Till next time.
Amen. Wow. I just wanted to share that I had to do the live recording now, but I'm still learning this StreamYard thing. So I just wanted to show that now. But this is the thing that makes me upset is that the parents are some of them are too afraid to stand up. But parents, we got to know that you still have the legal right over your children. The school does not have right. They cannot do anything without your consent. But they want the young parents to believe that they have no right. But you have right over your children. You have the right to tell them what they can do and what they cannot teach these children when it comes to personal things. No child should be going to school and the teacher is just automatically dressing them up in the opposite sex of clothes and did not consent it with the parents or the child. So this grandfather was upset that this 5-year-old teacher had dressed him up in a dress and he did not ask her to put it on. And that is so frightening to the point that if I was a parent, I would not want my child in school after that. Either it's my way or I'm taking them out and I can homeschool myself. And this is really what is coming to the point to that children is going to have to start being homeschooled because they're not sticking to the things that they're supposed to be doing, which is educating them. If they're just going to educate them with sexual stuff and they don't know their ABCs and everything else, that child is going to be very messed up and confused. I wouldn't want to pay my taxes and stuff, and my child is not getting the right education to take care of his home and his family when he get older because of this stuff. And this is just really crazy how they're doing stuff nowadays to make it look like that the parents is crazy, but they're not. And to me, these are just perverted people that have sexual fantasies, and they're pouring it out on the children. The children don't think about stuff like that at all. And I was a caregiver. I worked with children. I had a daycare. I had to go through all type of classes of developing and everything. And children do not think of that, especially little babies, toddlers, 5-year-old. They don't think about anything but trying to be independent. They're very independent. They don't want you to help them in anything. They're voicing their opinion. They're learning their voice. They're not thinking about sex. And that's what I just wanted to point out to the parents. Do not allow them to override your authority and your right for your children. Stand up. Stand up. When my son was in school, trust and believe, I had to sign papers. They had to ask me for permission to do anything with my child. So now it's like in this day and time, they're trying to make the younger generation believe that they have no rights. And that's not true. You have the right. They're working for you. They're working for the city, and they are paid to educate your child, not paid to do sexual things with toddlers. That's not law. And if it's not law, you need to stand up. Amen. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a blessed day. And before you close out, please like and share and comment. Thank you.